still do 7 NUFC Matters shows for free a week. But if you want to support the channel, there are a few ways of doing it. Hit the like button on each live broadcast or video. This helps the channel grow. Hit the subscribe button and select the all notifications option. Hit the thanks button to buy a super sticker. You can do this on the live chat too. You can also join our Patreon page or buy us a coffee at the link in all of our video descriptions below. We are also looking for sponsors. If you want our latest advertising rates and how you can get involved, then email John at nufcmatters1892@gmail.com.
Critics attack. It feels like I've been talking to myself again. But it's the only way you're ever gonna learn. You look back and it's all in the past. I'm dwelling on the thoughts I cannot say to you. If I don't say the words, then maybe it's not true. And it feels alright when they come and say to you, you're the only thing that makes us all believe.
Good afternoon, welcome to NUFC Matters. It is talking to Toon with me and Sid from Songs from the Attic. Go over and give his channel a sub. How are you, Sid?
Very good, mate. Yourself?
Very good, mate. Very good. Breaking news as we have come on this afternoon is that Nick Pope, Newcastle United's goalkeeper, sadly for some, will be out for the next 3 weeks. Tom's got it in the chat as well. He's going to be out with a groin injury. That means that the 33-year-old will be out of Newcastle United's next 6 games. So that is the breaking news as we hit the airwaves today. Nick Pope is out, and my thoughts go out to Dave in the chat, who will be disappointed, it has to be said. Newcastle United, once again, give us a midweek misery, but a weekend full of joy, Sid. Newcastle losing to Marseille in the Champions League was no disgrace, it has to be said, mate. It's a game we could have won. I'm very disappointed about that. And, although Leverkusen is a harder game, if we can play the same way as we've been playing in the Premier League, there's still possibility of getting something on the road there. But let's look back at the Everton game rather than the Marseille game to start with. It was a wonderful performance, a 4-1 win by Newcastle United on the road. The first away win of the season, Sid.
Yes, absolutely fantastic. Slightly unexpected after the Tuesday performance. I think it was Tuesday, I can't remember now. But we were... And obviously it come back to the whole Pope thing, didn't it, from the previous game? Because he basically, in my opinion, cost us the game because he cost us the momentum that we had at the time. But and it was whether or not he was going to be picked, and hence the fact that when he was declared injured, many of us, I think, is the phrase, were skeptical. I think is the phrase. But as it turned out, he is injured. He is injured, and it's probably saved Eddie Howe a big decision, in my opinion, because it's now the lad's now got a chance to basically put himself as the main man in goal, doesn't he? He's got the next 6 games, I believe, to prove himself as the number one choice. Personally, I think he would have picked Pope if he were fully fit. I am sort of adamant that would have been the situation, but it's worked out really, really well for us, So yeah, sorry, my dogs just want to jump on the sofa. I got a second. Oh, today.
Yeah.
But so yeah, I thought it was an amazing performance. I thought we were absolutely fabulous. We all played everybody played really, really well. There wasn't one bad performance amongst the whole team. I mean, the fullbacks, they make such a difference to that game, to our starting 11. It's just ridiculous. And I know Dan Burns had a load of grief playing left back. He's not a left back, and we'll keep saying it over and over again. Are you getting down now, are you? We say that like 100 times. And then what do? Put him in the position I've been saying, put him in at left centre half, and he was fantastic, in my opinion. I thought he had a great game. But the two fullbacks were just brilliant. Tino, incredible engine. And bearing in mind, he's been out not quite as long, but he's been out a long, long time. And he's just walked back in and played all the games and not gone off. Lewis Hall's gone off with cramp and all sorts. And that's not belittling Lewis Hall, may I add. But Tino's been superb. He just offers so much more. What he doesn't have that Lewis Hall's got, he doesn't have that attacking crossing ability. And it doesn't have. I genuinely think Lewis Hall is the most gifted on the ball player that we've got at the club. I do. I know people might think it's Bruno. Tonali is the best player. I'm not saying otherwise. But I think Lewis Hall is the other player, and Malik Chow might be one as well, and very, very soon, is the next player who could become a world-class footballer, given a little bit of time. And it's got to take a bit of time to prove yourself. But he's got everything, you know. He's not lightning quick, but he's quickish. His reading of the game is sensational. He seems to be two-footed. He does something that I've never seen when he gets the ball, and you think he's going to go one way, and he just sort of somehow goes the other way, and it always gets me. I always think, wow, I just love it when somebody's able to do something that I just don't expect to see. Whereas Tino, I sort of know what he's going to do, but he's super athletic and really, really brilliant at his job. And I'd just like to see the club sign the pair of them on real long-term deals and give them the rewards that they got, because we could have them as our two fullbacks for the next 10 years. We really could. I think I'm more optimistic of Lewis Hall staying for 10 years than I am probably of Tino. But either way, both of them are absolutely sensational players. Lovely lads as well. And that's the thing I really like as well. Eddie Howe's really created a proper ethos. And when you're listening to them being interviewed, they just come across as really sort of mature young men. And that's always a really, really good thing to see within the club. I mean, Chow the other day, after the match, the interview, Chow and Voltemera, the crack between the pair of them was great. I don't know if you've seen the post-match.
Yeah.
They were laughing and carrying on. The banter was really good. They've clearly got a great working relationship. They're clearly friends off the pitch as well. And it's a lovely team ethos and the emphasis on team that Howe has created behind the scenes. And Chow, I mean, as I say, that first game, I was really quite worried, but he's been nothing short of absolutely sensational since. Absolutely, I think the best buy of the summer amongst all of the teams in the Premier League so far. He looks unreal, looks unbelievable. I can't believe we've got a player that good. So he was brilliant. Lewis Hall was my man of the match. I'm putting it out there. I know Chow scored twice, and it's harsh not to give him man of the match, but Lewis Hall I thought was just brilliant. Wingers were good. Barnes was excellent. I thought Elanga was all right. People are going, oh, he was superb. Well, no, he's got such a low baseline. I thought he was all right. Yeah, he's created a goal. That was terrific. Do I think he's the long-term answer? Personally, no, I don't. But I thought he was all right. I thought he was all right and did a bit. And he's got something about him. Certainly against teams where we can go on the break, he's your man over Murphy. But I think Murphy's the better player of the two of them. I have no qualms in saying that. So I don't think he's an upgrade, which is really what we needed to do in the summer. But he's not a bad player. It seems like a canny lad as well again. Voltemera, terrific second half. Great goal, though. What a goal. There's such sort of Fonzarelli type coolness just to sort of control it and just dink it over Pickford, who had a stinker in some respects, didn't he? Because he's normally excellent against us. And I know the fans go for him, but he's normally excellent against us. He really is. So it was nice to see him have a howler. And speaking of howler, obviously off Lewis Miley, who was superb and very, very close to being man of the match. I thought he was brilliant. I thought he sort of helped dictate play with Bruno in the middle. He's very Michael Carrick is what I've written here. Very Michael Carrick style display. He's not lightning quick like Carrick wasn't quick, but he's got it mentally upstairs. He's a good passer of the ball. When he takes chances and tries to split the ball forward, I like to see that rather than just playing safe. And he's really got something about him. He's got all the skills to be a top player. He just now needs to do it on a consistent basis. And I would like to see Eddie Howe give him the chance tonight. So, and I would like to see him now as one of the four midfielders where we literally every game alternate them, and we can have 1 week you might have him and instead of Joe Linton, and the next week you might have Joe Linton back and I don't know, Bruno rested and so on and so forth, because that's the way we have to sort of progress. And we've got a young player who's really, really terrific and now needs to sort of prove himself for the rest of the season. And, hopefully he's got a great career ahead of him at Newcastle United. He's played a number of games already at 19, which is absolutely remarkable. I think just about as many as Phil Foden did at the same stage. So, well done to the lad. He did absolutely superb. Also, a big shout out. I thought Big Joe did really well in the second half. I thought he had an excellent second half. A bit quiet in the first half, but excellent in the second half, and really sort of helped keep the team further up the pitch. And actually, I thought, again, Joe Willock came off the bench and was tremendous. That's about the third or the fourth time off the spin. Now he's come off the bench and looked really, really good. The worry, of course, is we got Ramsey in some respects as an upgrade on Joe Willock, and he's not getting on. Or he is, it's for 5-10 minutes. So I'm not sure what the situation is there at the moment. Again, it might be one of those where it takes a little bit of time for him to sort of get in and fit in with the Eddie Howe style of football, because the lad's definitely got something. He's absolutely got something. But what he needs, again, is a football. I'll be honest, I was reluctant to spend 40 million on Ramsey because he doesn't score enough. I want to see a guy who's going to sort of bang goals in. But that's the sort of side. He's got the potential to break the lines and be that player. But time will tell. But I thought we were terrific. As I say, lovely to see the fullbacks playing so well, because Everton have two fantastic wingers. And I would happily take either of them, if I'm being brutally honest. And I'm a big fan of his Andai on the right. I think he's a super footballer. And I thought Grealish, even though he's kept quiet, he put in some great balls into the box in terms of fast, low passing, and they just didn't capitalise on it. So to keep him quiet was really, it was really something. So well done, Newcastle, brilliant. You didn't think much of the ground, is that right, Steve?
Yeah, I wasn't overly impressed. It's too far away from civilization. It's on the waterfront. It's at the river, and it's the only two bars down there are Everton home bars, as you would understand. I mean, from Matthew Street, to give you to give you in context, it's 4 mile walk from Matthew Street. For somebody like me, I could probably do that in 45 minutes, but it's not the place really that I would say is it's not an improvement. And look, football stands are football stands, but when you go to Tottenham Hotspur, it's a step up in the right direction, even for away supporters. But for us, it reminded me very much of the Gallagher or the Leazes. It was just breeze blocks, no decoration. It just wasn't very welcoming. 2 bars that were open. It was great getting in there 2 hours before the match and nobody being there, but you knew that there was another, 2,500 people that were to get there. And by the time it come to half time, it was good natured. Everyone was singing at half time. We took and shared a few videos on our YouTube channel, but it's just very like the Riverside, very like the Stadium of Light, flat pack, new build, awful. Inside, the atmosphere was good. Of course, it was good, to start with, because Everton have got that kind of set, songs that they play prior to the game, and they do know how to build the atmosphere, and it is it's a lot more intimidating in that part of the game than
Goodison was. The Zedcast theme tune, don't they? Before
well, that's the first thing I said. I turned to the lads and I says, "I bet you they still play Zedcast," and sure enough, they did. But it wasn't very good. It's not in my top 10 for the Premier League, and I think that tells you where it is. Just a couple of points. You were talking about Ramsey. Well, he mentioned Ramsey in his press conference yesterday, and he essentially said that players such as Ramsey, that they need bedding in, because Alanga needed to bed in. I think it's been well covered now by the media that he was given that kind of period on the bench, really to a watching brief. This is what we do. This is how we do it. Whilst he was getting up to speed with his fitness as far as Newcastle was concerned, and I think Ramsey's the same. I think we'll see more of Ramsey as time goes on. The other point that he made, which dovetails what you've said, is the Lewis Miley comment, which was that he now sees him as a first choice midfielder, which he's worked hard to get there. He's only 19. He's had 60 appearances in the first team, but he's had more game time than people think this season. You know, he's only had 5 starts, yes, but if you look at minutes that he's played, he's actually played a lot of minutes this year. So, but that will have done him the world of good here in Eddie Howe say that he said he came in, he started playing with these players and learning the craft with these players at such a young age. And the exact phrase was, he's now their equal. And I think to say that, I think that shows now the immense trust that he's got in Lewis Miley, the fact that he's given him the opportunity to start big games and he trusts him, which is great. And he's only going to get better with age. And I said to the lads on Saturday, I genuinely feel that the one person and the one player that has benefited from Elliot Anderson leaving Newcastle United is Lewis Miley. Because, of course, Lewis Miley was ahead of Anderson in progression and then got the injury, in and out the team, couldn't get back in. Anderson came to the forefront and almost overtook him. And I think he could be, those two could be neck and neck for midfield positions at international level moving forwards. I think they could probably play together in England's midfield.
Anderson's maybe slight. I don't know. I think Anderson's slightly better, but they definitely have different different things going on with regards to the game. But
he's got a look at Michael Carrick, Lewis Miley. I mean,
he looks like Michael Carrick, doesn't he?
He's got that kind of presence, that kind of distribution. He can score a goal. I think the comparisons with Steven Gerrard are probably less so, but I
think much more Michael Carrick.
I think Michael Carrick, yes. So that's it. Yeah, I mean, the Ramsdale thing was interesting. He didn't have a great deal to do.
He pulled up a great save though, Steve.
I thought
that corner was fantastic save, and I know they thought it was Barnes, but it was definitely his hand that got round the body somehow, and it was quite a big punch because he punched it outside the box. So
he was obscured from vision as well, wasn't he? Couldn't see
from that angle. Well done to him, because I thought that was a fantastic save. I mean, to actually go out of the box is quite remarkable. Actually, the hand strength must be quite something. So I thought he did very well considering that. He didn't have much to do, obviously, and there's nothing you could do about the goal. But what was nice is that the players were 10 yards further up the pitch because they've got a guy who's able to ping the ball really fast to them. I mean, he will make the odd mistake, of course, and he will get them into trouble on occasions with pinging the ball really quickly. But I think you have to take that as part of the style of football that we do, rather than just some bloke who's going to lump it out of the pitch into the stands. And it's just generally terrible with his feet, although a class shot stopper. But even that's been put into question in the last few weeks, of course, hasn't it? With some of the howlers that he's put in. But I mean, I as you know, my thoughts were it was the right call, irrespective if Pope was fit. Ramsdale would have definitely been my choice in goal. I just can't think you can go 3 games off the trot where you go away from home and he's led to a loss of points in consecutive games. I don't think you can afford to do that, irrespective of how good a shot stopper he is. So I good.
Yeah, the other big news that came across the Newcastle United wavelengths over the last 48 hours has been that Yohan Wissa is not going to AFCON. Congo released their squad and he's not in it, and subsequently from that came the expression that Newcastle have spent such a lot of money on Yohan Wissa that he felt that he owes it to his club to get fit and to play and reward their loyalty, I guess, in bringing him in, which was a refreshing thing to hear, I guess, from a footballer.
It was, because he doesn't owe us anything. Because at the end of the day, as I kept saying, if you're an England fan and somebody says I'm not playing because of such and such, you'd kick off. So I think he's got every right to go and play for his country, and I have no problem with it whatsoever. It wasn't his intention to go and get injured, was it? However, he's made his choice, and well done to him. It speaks volumes about him personality-wise. It speaks a lot about how much he really wants to play for the club. And I've just seen Keith Downey there saying somebody in training said he's been unbelievable. So it bodes well. It bodes well. I suspect his first game will probably be on the bench against Sunderland. I suspect that's probably when we'll probably see him for the first time. And then he'll just come on in dribs and drabs until he builds his fitness up properly, which more likely is going to be January when we'll see him as a starter. And I think he'll be one of 3 centre forwards, because I think we'll sell, by the looks of it, we're going to sell
Willisula.
Hopefully with a buyback clause. And go and buy somebody else, whoever that person may be. I have no idea. But I think they will go and get another centre forward because they can't be in this situation again where one person's out and it really puts too much pressure on one centre forward. And let's be honest, Anthony Gordon ain't a centre forward. And I don't care whether he can do a job. He can't, because we haven't won any games with him up front as a centre forward. So he literally can't. He's so many games played now, proven that it just doesn't work, you know. So it's a no for me. So we have to go and buy another centre forward. However, priority for the transfer window has to be to go and buy a fullback who can either play both sides, preferably in terms of an additional cover for Tino and for Lewis Hall, because it's crying out. Because those lads are going to need a rest as well, aren't they? You know, they can't play every game.
No.
Yes, the young kids and super fit at their age, as we all remember. Yeah, just. But they will need rest as well. So we do need another alternative, and we have others coming through as well. So it's looking good. It's looking good. And as I say, if Newcastle can get by January, if Newcastle can be in the top 8, then we have a real chance from January to push on and get into the Champions League and really, really go for it. But I think that's the short-term target for me, is to get the top 8 by January.
He's going to mix and match, isn't he? He's not going to play the two of them together. A lot of people saying, who do you drop for Wissa? Well, it'll be Voltemada and Wissa. It'll be rotation, won't it? And there'll be the odd occasion, like we saw with Isaac and Wilson, where both of them end up on the pitch at the same time.
Correct, absolutely. And yeah, certain players, it's horses for courses. Some will suit some games more than others, you know, in terms of the fox in the box. Obviously going to be Vissa. Somebody, a different style of football, you play Voltemada. And as you rightly say, there might be times when we play both of them and have Voltemada as a 10, which we never play, but he looks like a 10, and have Vissa up as the centre forward. So it's definitely there. We've definitely got potential to do that, and that could be exciting as well. I suspect he'll probably go into default position of, if Newcastle are behind, he'll play that sort of formation. But who knows? Yeah, it's looking good. It's really, really quite positive about what's going to happen soon. Anyway, it's my mindset's definitely changed over the last few weeks with a few results, which is what it's all about.
Yeah,
so, yeah.
It's a nice problems to have. Certainly nice problems to have. I mean, from our perspective as well, there was a big discussion last night at St James's Park. 1,000 Newcastle fans were at the Stack, and Ross Wilson and David Hopkinson were talking about various things. As John says, they'll be judged on actions and results. We need to get the lads at full-back signed to extend contracts for starters, which is what you said. But I want to push on more towards the question that he asks later on, John, which was expand or relocate. We'll be asking the same question this time next year. Well, I mean, we didn't expect the answer we got last night. Where are we at with the ground relocation? But we're nowhere is the answer. We're no further forward, and we're not quite sure what's happening. Was the answer. Put it in a little bit more context. David Hopkinson basically said that he's now come to the end of his 100-day review, and that's now been sent to PIF. So he was apparently going to be having discussions with PIF imminently about his 100-day review and what his suggestions are. He's put across a few suggestions. So one would imagine the first thing that will happen is the improvement of the training ground, which is is going to happen, but seems to be at a standstill, the stadium situation.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say I'm dead impressed with David Hopkinson so far. He's done things. Things have changed already in the 100 days that he's been there. So he's not just a talker, he's a doer. And I like his attitude. I like what he said so far. I like, more importantly, what he's done so far. So I'm actually very, very impressed. I like the fact that there's a 100-day review. He's clearly going to act upon it. My thoughts. I want a new ground, absolutely. I would not be surprised if Newcastle United end up with an extended Gallagher for about 7 or 8 years, and then we get a new ground. I wouldn't be surprised if that were the long-term end. New ground in 10 years' time, but before then we have an extension to the Gallagher, and they go all corporate at one part of the ground. Known may look probably the east stand, Although, to be perfectly honest, I'm amazed that his stand's not falling down. It's, I mean, it looks horrendous. The facilities are atrocious inside. It's just the view. That's the only good part about it. But I genuinely don't know what's going to happen. And I have zero faith, I'm afraid, in the local council. I have absolutely no faith whatsoever with regards to people on the council in terms of them actually doing anything. I mean, look how long it's taken for them to actually get round to sorting out the Tyne Bridge. And then all of a sudden they've discovered that they need twice as many areas to actually repair upon it. I personally thought there were easy wins for the Tyne Bridge. Why don't they get it sponsored? Sponsor the Tyne Bridge. It's an iconic thingy. The Tyne Bridge sponsored by such and such, and get them to repair it and do it super, super quick and really well. So,
yeah, I mean, that's a good God, Doug. Yeah, I mean, it's something which will frustrate fans. I mean, apparently there was a collective groan, but I think he won the fans back around with the other stuff that he was coming out with towards the end. I could have made the original date, the 27th, and I would have gone, but unfortunately I couldn't do it last night. So, yeah, Darren and Denise and Alan and Mozza were there last night. So, we'll get probably a little bit more from them in the chat when they're next in as moderators. I think as well the big thing today or yesterday, sorry, at the press conference was when Eddie was asked about the transfer window. It's 1 month away. We've already touched on where we think we need to strengthen. Is that just a bit of kidology from Eddie when he says he hasn't spoken to anybody about it yet?
Of course, it's kidology. How weird, man. There's a guy who's got like long-term plans and he's worked everything out and he's, I haven't thought about buying a... Shut up, man. Give us a rest. We're not stupid. Of course he's thought about it. He'll have known from the 1st of September the positions that we needed to strengthen. So I have no doubt about it. The guy's an intelligent man who's a forward thinker. Are you seriously telling me you haven't thought about the transfer window? How weird.
Yeah. My thoughts exactly, mate. My thoughts exactly. Okay, we are halfway through the show. It is time for the ads. A big thanks to all our sponsors, Skips and Bins. You can find them at their website, skipsandbins.com. Contact them at www.skipsandbins.com/contact. Say hello to low-cost waste disposal with pay-as-you-go and contract waste management. A big thanks to Mr. Vicky Sauces, handmade in Cumbria. You can find them at their website, mrvickies.co.uk, email info@mrvickies.co.uk, or telephone 01768 210 102. Thanks to our fanzine sponsor, United Group Travel. There are no strangers on our tours, just friends you haven't met yet. 2 crew driver and courier, local family company, 3-star plus quality hotels and no interchanges. Hot and cold snacks and drinks available on the coach. All excursions included. Their website, unitedgrouptravel.com. Email beverly.ugtl@gmail.com. Telephone 01670 632 460 or 0791 666 4174. Just £30 per person deposit. Thanks to Media Arts for all the help with the technical side of things. And if you like listening to us as a podcast, you can go to Sports Social Podcast Network or to iTunes, Spotify, or other podcast providers. If you want to support the show, then hit the subscribe button. It's free. We do 7 shows a week. Hit the little thumb up under the video, which is the like button, or click share to share to your social media. You can also join the channel on YouTube by hitting the join button for as little as $1.99 a month. If you want to become an NUFC Matters member, you can go to nufcmatterspodcast.co.uk. It's a £25 one-off fee. You get your pen, you get your badge, a key ring, you get your beer mat and your fridge magnet and your membership card, nufcmatterspodcast.co.uk for that. And we have an event early next year, 13th of February 2026, an evening with Beardsley, Waddle and Gascoigne takes place at the Tyne Theatre and Opera House. To buy your tickets for that event, go to the box office 0191 243 1171 or Tyne Theatre and Opera House.uk. And it's a big welcome to Rock and Rob, who's going to give us an album review. And the album he won't be reviewing is
Look at
this
that
one.
mullet. Is that
John
Waddle or Hoddle?
Kincaid, Till I Kissed You, Pie in the Sky. Wonderful,
Beautiful.
wonderful mullet.
Yeah. Hoddle, that's Hoddle and Waddle. That's what it looks like to me, the hairstyle. How are you both?
How are
You
you?
all right?
All
Yeah,
good,
good
mate.
to see you, Rob.
I'm good. And you both? Yes. So today we are reviewing Japan.
Good
Quiet
album.
Life Out. Yeah, brilliant album. Obviously, this is re-released, and it was also released on the usual sort of super deluxe edition. Massive David Sylvian fan myself personally, and some of Mick Cairns solo stuff. This was Quiet Life 1979, and I'm doing research on the background, which I didn't do when I was younger because you couldn't. I didn't know they were from Catford. So you've got Catford, you've got Deptford, you don't know where that is. You've got Blackheath, don't know where that is. Isle of Dogs, near where the O2 is, basically where Squeeze are from. So I never realised that. That's where they're from originally. One single off this one called Quiet Life is David Sylvian on the cover. His real name is David Batt, and his brother on drums, Steve Jansen, also known as Stephen Batt. So synth pop, yeah, New Romantics. A lot of goth fashion came out of New Romantics that people missed. A lot of it did. It wasn't all smoke and rubber bats. So yeah, opening with Quiet Life, brilliant. Sort of like, it's got like a science fiction feel to this one. Little drum roll coming in. Mick Cairns bass again. Obviously, his fretless bass. It's unbelievable. First drop after the first verse, kicking into the second verse. Sorry, brilliant. Lovely Ebo guitar effect on this one, bringing in the second verse. Sorry, really nice texturing guitar. There's not a lot of guitaring in Japan's music. It's got like a helicopter feel, and as soon as I said that, I started thinking of Airwolf, if you remember that, in the 1980s TV show. So it reminded me of that, but it was quite a big single at the time, Quiet Life. Number 2, Fall in Love with Me, simply as good as Quiet Life, but to me this is a bit more experimental. I mean, the first 2 albums were more post-punk to me, much more aggressive, songs like Adolescent Sex, things like that, more dramatic, more theatrical, more aggressive in the performance and vocals. But yeah, let's say in this song, to me, this is the most aggressive David gets on this song, on this album. Sorry, tempo is really good as well. It's very, very similar to Quiet Life. And again, brilliant drumming as well. But I've seen David Sylvian 3 times now. Steve Jansen, his brother, plays drums. Absolutely outstanding drummer. Very, I don't know how to explain it. Very different. That's all we can say. I mean, people say that about Stuart Copeland and several other drummers, but the imagination, Steve Jansen's unbelievable. They got track 3, Despair, does what it says in the tin. Not too keen on it. I've listened to it a few times now. Now that I'm older, I listened to it twice a day, and I thought it was okay yesterday. Today, I don't like it. It's a bit of bit dull, no direction. It's one of those ones, and it depends where you are at the time, and what you're doing. And now it's like, that's okay, I quite like it. Now, today, I don't like that anymore. I don't do grey areas. It's a bit of a throwaway, a bit of a B-side, I think, and it doesn't belong in an album for me, personally. Then you got track 4, On Vogue. As soon as I heard that, I thought that 90s song, what's it, My Lovin'? Mick Cairns' bass and his harmonics on the bass, it's absolutely unbelievable. Best song on the album for me, inspirational musician Mick Cairns was. Obviously, he's no longer with us. Brilliant again, mid-tempo song, minor chords are brilliant, especially on the synth work on this is absolutely beautiful. Again, with Mick Cairns, it was rumoured, allegedly, that's why Japan split up, because Mick Cairns and David's first wife. So turn the record over, you've got side B, a song called Halloween. This to me this shows how far ahead Japan were of like Spandau or Duran Duran. This remember the song Rio by Duran Duran. This is very, very, very similar. I wouldn't be surprised if this was their influence for the hit single Rio. And that's every musician on the song. So if you like Duran Duran, I love the first album. Halloween, it's brilliant. Again, it's that journey through life. You're older, you listen to it, you pick up things, and you sort of mirror things with other bands and other influences. Really nice saxophone part on this song. All Tomorrow's Parties. Guess what? Really liked this yesterday. I've listened to it 3 times today, and I don't like it anymore. It's quite eerie. It's I don't know. It's dark. It makes you like go through a dark tunnel with no light at the end of it.
It was a single as well, wasn't
it? Yeah. Yes, you're right. I don't understand why it was a single, but some nice guitar parts in it. It reminds me of an album that Sylvian done with Robert Fripp. Robert Fripp being of King Crimson, Troy Wilcox's album. This album is outstanding. It's from the album David Sylvian done with Robert Fripp called Gone to Earth. Absolutely brilliant album. So it's no direction with it. Yeah, there's my LP there. I think Steve's got I put some of my LPs of my Sylvian Japan collection. There you go. That's some of my vinyl there. The bottom one, Gone to Earth, brilliant album. Absolutely brilliant live album. So yeah, you got track 3 on side 2. Not a pleasant intro. It kicks in though, it's really sublime. Nice, again, the slides by Mick Carn, his bass playing. It's fascinating. It's got a lot of imagination with this Mick Carn on the back there, with his side flick. It's okay, but again, Mick Carn, and again, if you watch him, I mean, Sid, you'll know this, if you watch him on Oxford Roadshow, how he moves, it's like somebody's pushing him on a skateboard sideways, playing the bass, just like an android. It's absolutely mesmerizing, unbelievable. Then you've got track 4, the last song on side 2, very sort of somber. It's a bit of a more of a masterpiece. Instrumental part at the end is absolutely spot on, perfection. Unusual direction chords again on the synths. I think a lot of musicians on this are sort of like obviously I would think there are lots of other side projects, but I think Japan miles ahead, or miles 6 to 10 years ahead of Duran Duran. But yeah, there's Steve Jansen, Mick Carn, Richard Barbieri, and Rob Dean on guitar. And obviously you had David Sylvian, again, a lot of people, who's that? I think it was 7 years in a row he was voted the most beautiful man in the world or something like that. He's worked with like Holger Chukai, Ryuichi Sakamoto, done the song, I think it was Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence, David Bowie.
Yes, it was. The Colours song is brilliant. Forbidden
Colours, yeah. So brilliant, absolutely. Really, really loved it. It's a third album, but I think the third album makes a band. I think you've got your first album, the debut, you rush out and get it. The second album is good, and to me, your third album makes you. But here, I pick up an awful lot on Sylvian's solo work. But absolutely brilliant album. Again, Sylvian solo stuff. Check it out. Gone to Earth, Flux and Mobility, with Holger Chukai, and Ryuichi Sakamoto solo stuff. Really, really good. Very interesting. That's me.
Great stuff. What about you? What are you bringing us today, Sid?
Well, we have a crossover because Robert Fripp obviously features on my album today, and Rob asked a few weeks ago, is my favourite album? Well, I've got 2 really. I've got a number actually, obviously, but if I had to choose between 2, it's between Low and it will be Low or Scary Monsters, both by David Bowie. And I've gone with Scary Monsters and Super Creeps, which is just an incredible album in my opinion. Obviously, came out in 1980, September 1980, and obviously Bowie was the king of the new romantics in many respects. He was king of the punks as well. He's probably the most influential based on punk and the subsequent new romantic movement. This was a big album in the UK. Got to number 1, got to number 12 in America, so not too bad. Features a number of guest musicians, but Robert Fripp being the key one on this because he's all over the album. Pete Townsend features on a track. Roy Bittan from the E Street Band is back. He's on about 3 or 4 tracks. And then this is the last album to feature the Great Dam section of Dennis Davis on drums, Carlos Alomar on guitar, and the great George Murray on bass. So it's the last sort of great album that Bowie did for a period of time, and I think it took him at least 15 years before he did another great album, because he did some absolute dross as well in between. Never Let Me Down suddenly springs to mind. But anyway, it's a really great art rock album. It starts off with this track No Game Part 1 with Michi Hirota singing it. And if you don't know who she is, she's the girl who's one of the two women on the front of the Sparks album, Kimono My House. So she actually, the first song is sung in Japanese. So it's not exactly super commercial, but it works brilliantly. It works absolutely brilliantly. It's just fantastic. The second track will go straight into Up the Hill Backwards, which is like got a Bo Diddley type of riff, except it's got Robert Fripp flying all over the guitar on it at times, and it's superb, and it's got this mad scream bit as well in it. It's just a fantastic song. The third track is the title track, Scary Monsters and Super Creeps, which was influenced in 1975 by the old Kellogg's Cornflakes advert of Scary Monsters and Superheroes, their campaign. So it was based on a Cornflakes ad. Bowie liked the title and sort of wrote it down and came up with this tune. So again, the thing that stands out on this song, as well as the superb effect Bowie has on the chorus, of the chorus, the effect that they put on his voice, and his Mockney accent on it, is the Robert Fripp guitar is just mad. It's just everywhere. He's zooming around all over the place, but again, it's superb guitar playing.
Yeah.
We've then got Ashes to Ashes, which everybody knows, huge #1 hit single, brings back Major Tom, the Major Tom narrative. Roy Bittan's piano's fantastic on it because it just creates loads of space. It's just a fantastic song. Didn't even get into the top 20 in America, which just tells you all you need to know about the USA at the time. They didn't know what was going on. But it's just brilliant. It's so catchy. It's unbelievable. And of course, has one of the most iconic videos of all time. And it has one of Bowie's favorite catchphrases, which I'll not repeat the full word, but you can work it out when he goes, he was busy smoking a tab on the beach doing the Ashes to Ashes video, dressed up in the clown outfit. And somehow blokes walking his dog on the beach and taking ages, and the director's waiting for ages. And Bowie starts to have a bit chat with him, and he says something along the lines of, hope you don't mind, but we're trying to shoot a video. And gets into a conversation, and the bloke just sort of basically says, you're some old, starts with a T, ends with a T, standing in a clown costume. Is brilliant. Bowie loved the story, just sort of used to roll laughing about it all of the time. But terrific. He says, whenever I'm down, I think of that story. We've next got Fashion, which was originally called Jamaica. It got to #5 in the UK. I remember buying me dad it bizarrely for Christmas. It got to #70 in the USA, which is like, what's going on? If you listen to the guitar solo on it, it's nuts. There are 2 guitar solos on it, absolutely nuts. Robert Fripp did them in one take, I believe. It was just said, do your thing, Robert. Just turned up, plugged in, played this nuts solo, and Bowie goes, that'll do. And that was it. And it's crazy when you listen to it, you go, but it works. Anyway, it's brilliant. Then we've got side 2, Teenage Wildlife, probably for me the best track on the album. It's a critique of not planning ahead, of being young. Incredible guitar work by Robert Fripp. Great lyrics by Bowie. There's nothing uglier than a teenage millionaire pretending it's a whiz-kid world. I think that's a great line. Fantastic. Scream Like a Baby. The tune was written in 73, 74 under the title I'm a Laser. Lyrically, it's about a dystopian 1984 police state. Brilliant. Really, really dark. Really dark lyrics. Really dark song. We then got Kingdom Come, which is a Tom Verlaine song. He normally always has a cover on, and this is the one. Tom Verlaine, out of television, apparently was supposed to be on the album, but it took him a full day to tune, get his amps sorted, couldn't get sorted, and in the end they didn't bother inviting him back and just got Robert Fripp to play the guitar instead. The second last track is Because You're Young, and it features Pete Townsend on guitar, and Townsend brilliant on it, really aggressive guitar playing, fantastic song. It's a real highlight on the album, absolutely love it. And then the album bookends with It's No Game Part 2, where at this time David Bowie sings it instead of the Japanese lady. He was originally going to have an instrumental called Crystal Japan, which is absolutely fantastic. I think he should have probably put it on, but it works perfectly as a bookend. I just think it's a sensational album. It sounds fresh. It's never dated. It's absolutely art rock at its best.
Yeah.
I think it's an unbelievable album. A truly remarkable album. So there we go. Scary Monsters and Super Creeps. Just brilliant. Film-wise, I was going to go with Stalag 17, but I thought I'd done it before, so I can't remember. So I've gone with The Hobbit. And I've just watched them all recently. Over the last 2 weeks, I've watched The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings again, all the extended versions, and whizzed through them. I have to say, I enjoyed The Hobbit more than I enjoyed Lord of the Rings again, watching it back, which was a bit of a surprise. I read the book in 1980, funnily enough, when I was a little kid. I was about a certain age, and it's based on obviously the book was written in 1937. Somehow the film got a trilogy out of it, and there's nothing like the book. It's very, very loosely based on the book, I think is the phrase. But it's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. Martin Freeman plays Bilbo Baggins, a little hobbit. Frodo in Lord of the Rings is much more mournful and sad. When you watch it, you forget there's very few moments in it when he's joyful and happy. Whereas The Hobbit, there's lots of humor as well as the dark aspects of the story. So I personally think it's just a better film, but there you have it. It's brilliant cast. Ian McKellen reprises the role of Gandalf. Ken Stott is superb as Balin. James Nesbitt's really good in it. Sylvester McCoy's fantastic in it. Stephen Fry's really good as this grotesque type character. We've got a love story in it as well with Evangeline Lilly, who's definitely one for the dads, I think is the phrase. She's beautiful. We've got these invented stories of Azog and Bolg who are not in the book, but brilliant. It's a really clever story. And Martin, and of course, it's all built upon the idea of trying to steal something back and destroy a dragon, which was the original story. And the dragon, of course, this time is played by Benedict Cumberbatch, who, of course, is Martin Freeman's good friend from Sherlock. Rather weirdly, true story here, I saw both of them within 24 hours in London once. I was standing next to Benedict Cumberbatch once in King's Cross. And I only noticed him because his wife was trying to be incognito. She had a pair of dark sunglasses on, a ridiculous hat on. She might as well have had a neon sign above her head. And I was wondering what she was doing. And then he was standing next to her. And then the following day, I was in Soho. And bizarrely, I started talking to Rick Wakeman, as you do. And Martin Freeman was just literally walking down the street. It's bizarre, a bizarre day. But it's a fantastic trilogy. Go and watch it. It's really entertaining. It's a superb story. It's absolutely lovely. Well, there we go. Brilliant.
And I again said that the David Bowie album, that's brilliant. I reviewed that, I think, 3 years ago with Steve, and it was a gothy as you like as well. I was a Bauhaus tribute band, and we were trying to get a Pete Murphy. We couldn't because they were all too Bowie, which was bizarre. So we had a Bowie. It was called John Bowie. He tours everywhere, but you can't get a Bauhaus frontman that isn't Bowie. It's just bizarre. But yeah, brilliant. And your film as well, Lord of the G-Strings, was very good as well.
On that note, Rob, thank you very much, mate. Look forward to seeing you next week.
Enjoy your evening.
Take care, man.
Bye-bye.
Great stuff.
Let's go the Flash Gordon route again.
I know. Let's look ahead to Newcastle's match tonight. They kick off at 8:15 live on Sky Sports against Tottenham Hotspur. Newcastle seeking their 7th successive home win in League and Cup, having beaten Nottingham Forest, Fulham, Man City, of course, in the Premier League, Benfica and Bilbao in the Champions League, and Spurs in the Carabao Cup. Victory tonight would take Eddie Howe's side to 21 points from 14 games, which is one more than at this stage last season. The team, Newcastle will be without Kieran Trippier, Sven Botman, Nick Pope and Will Asula. None of the quartet are now expected to return to the side before Boxing Day. The availability of Johan Wisser is yet to be confirmed, but he did take part in a training ground kickabout involving the club's under-21 side on Saturday, and a further private game is planned. Tottenham welcome back Christian Romero to centre half, while Kota Takai is back in training as well. James Maddison, Dominic Solanke, Dejan Kulusevski and Radu Dragusin are all sidelined. Thomas Frank's side are currently level with Newcastle on points but ahead on goal difference, but they've just taken 1 point from the last 12. A 2-2 home draw with Man United, losing at home to Chelsea and Fulham and beating at Arsenal in the North London derby. Spurs are in better Premier League form on the road so far this season than at home, winning 4, drawing 1 and losing 1 of their 6 away games to date. Their victories came at Manchester City 2-0, West Ham 3-0, Leeds 2-1 and Everton 3-0. A point came from a 2-2 draw at Brighton, and their most recent away fixture ended in a 4-1 defeat at Arsenal. Referee tonight is Tom Bramall, first game of the season at St James's Park, last seen here in our 4-0 win over Leicester City in December. And VAR is Paul Tierney. Don't forget, if you're popping up to the ground tonight, take some change, stick it in the food bank bucket. Okay, we'll get a couple of predictions from you, I guess, tonight. We will get the one for tonight and the one for the weekend. I'm going to aim to do a show with you probably before I go to Germany on Monday. So we'll try and get the next talk of the Toon pre-recorded. We'll talk about that behind the scenes. But yeah, 2 predictions. First tonight, Spurs.
Tough game, actually. They're a funny one, aren't they? Hey, Rob, the ABBA show was fantastic. I'm putting it out there. I think Rob, ABBA are the greatest pop band of all time. So there we go. I'm definitely putting that out there. I thought, I think it's going to be really tough. I agree with Tom Dixon. I'm going to go with a 2-1 tonight. I think it's going to be really tight. I expect them to score just because we beat them 2-0 recently. And law of averages say they're going to score at some point. But
3-1. It's a 10-man night.
Well, they're interesting, aren't they? Because they're a team who every year it's like Groundhog Day. They start off well and then they sort of collapse and all the fans call for the manager's head. But I'd like to see us beat them. Tottenham 2-1. I'm going to go with 2-1. I'm fairly confident we'll win, but I think it'll be a tough game. Whereas Saturday, I'm going for 2-0. I think it'll be a clean sheet and it'll be 2-0. Maybe it's even 3-0, but I'll say 2. I'll play conservative. Again, I think they'll just stick 10 men behind the ball and try and come away with something, but I think we'll have too much for them. And of course, we get to give Martin Dubravka a big round of applause when he comes back as well, for services rendered to the club. And he deserves a big round of applause off the fans as well for being a top man. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm expecting 2 wins and for us to fly up that table and hopefully get onto a run. Next 3 games, I'm hoping for 7 points out of 9. So it is the minimum. And I think that's what we should be looking for. I really do think we should be looking for that. But certainly 2 wins is what I would be expecting. So great. Tough game, but I expect we've got too much for them.
Great show as always. Thanks to Rob. Thanks to you, Sid. We will see you next week. Take care, mate.
Take care, folks. Bye-bye.
Yeah.